How's it going, YouTube? Oxy here, and welcome back. Sorry for the hiatus. Of course, it's like holidays, that time of year, so, seeing a lot of family, friends, but we're back right before the year ends. And of course, I have to end it with the big G, Godzilla. And just gonna cover some Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire leaks. Of course, there's been the toy leaks, right? We know what like the Scar King looks like. We know Shimo, right? It's been rumored, but it's like the first Titan who Scar King like controls. He can breathe like ice breath, and he's like considered the first Titan and like the one that caused the Ice Age. So I thought that was pretty cool. We have names for like the baby Kong. His name will be Suko. And yeah, it's if you theorize that Kong kind of like adopts him like a son, then yeah, it's pretty much what's gonna happen. And yeah, so that's like what's mainly been out there. There's story leaks which I would touch on, so I would give an official spoiler warning because this is potentially like what we will see in a few months, right? It comes out April, so we're basically the end of the year, December, so January, like 4 months, literally. Like you could, well, less than that, right? Like 3.5, because it's like early, like the first half of April, like April 12th. Yeah, but anyways, so spoiler warning, you've been warned. Yeah. So again, Scar King, right? The orange ape. We do so these leaks, and again, this is all rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. It might not be the final product, but yeah. So Scar King, he's the leader of a tribe. We do see them in the trailer, right? Other Kongs, and apparently so I would just say Kong. He encounters them, and it's revealed that Scar King and them, they were like protectors of humanity, but they grew to resent like the surface world, and supposedly Godzilla was the one that trapped them down there. Um, Scar King has a plan with Shimu again, who's like the first Titan. He mind controls because the toys reveal that the bone whip Scar King carries has like a crystal, or basically he could control Shimu because naturally Shimu is bigger, like even bigger than Godzilla, right? Like probably like heavier, walks on all fours. So it's expected that like how would he be in control of right that monster? But it's like mind control, and his idea is to use Shimu to essentially cause like another ice age, and of course take over. And at some point, Kong will meet Suko, who is not Scar King's son. Apparently, just a friendly kid, probably orphaned if I had to guess. And that, of course, Kong will kind of be like an adoptive father, and I'm assuming Suko will eventually become like son of Kong, and tying back to like the original obviously King Kong, and then the eventual sequel Son of Kong. So that's cool. Like it's cool that all these monsters, whether it be Godzilla, King Kong, they always tie them in with their lore and things like that, which I really like. But on the Godzilla side, we know that I believe it's like he fights another monster. Oh yeah, it's like the beginning of the movie would be so at the end of versus Kong, Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla's on the surface world, Kong is in the Hollow Earth. In the beginning of the movie, it'll be like Godzilla fighting they call like arachnid, or maybe like a big spider, right? Kaiju, similar to Kamunga or Scylla, right? From the Monsterverse. Something similar. And basically, Godzilla defeats it. starts to hibernate in the Colosseum, like Rome, like in the dome. Um, Again, something about Scar King or probably Shimu awakening that like Godzilla feels. Gia, right? She returns, and her adoptive mother, played by Rebecca Hall. Uh, Apparently Gia and the Iwis, mainly the Hollow Earth Iwis, will play a big part in the movie. We'll get a lot of their backstory, and even from some accounts, like we'll have a strong human story. Because whereas maybe Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters are criticized, like they try to have, like they focus too much on the humans, and naturally we don't really care about them. Whereas Godzilla versus Kong basically had very little human story. It was very much put the monsters front and center. Apparently XGVXK will try to balance that. Like we will get multiple scenes with monster fights. Like it's just them on screen. But then we will have like Gia or other characters. Apparently they say that other characters will be mentioned, so I'm assuming maybe that's like Millie Bobby Brown and like that family, but they won't appear in the film. It just says other characters from the franchise will be mentioned. Probably also with the Apple TV show, right? Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I haven't watched it. I don't have Apple Plus, but I'm assuming that characters in that, even though I believe the show takes place before 2014 and a little at like before, during, after, kind of like that, like going on at the same time. Maybe characters from that get mentioned, but obviously they don't show up in the movie. Yeah, that's what we really know. Again, Godzilla fights like in the middle. Apparently Godzilla and Kong don't meet up to like the middle of the movie. Sorry. And then the big final battle will be like in Egypt, where like Scar King is riding Shimu. Like that's how big Shimu is, that a Titan could ride it. And somehow they break the crystal, and that's how, of course, Shimu snaps out of it. Scar King is defeated. But they don't like kill Shimu because again it was like against its will. Like it's not a it sounds benevolent, like not like an evil monster. Like essentially at the end I believe Kong and maybe Suko, like they ride on Shimu back to the Hollow Earth. Whereas Godzilla of course just goes back to the waters, his usual thing. So those are like I guess the main things. The story is definitely, excuse me, a lot more sci-fi campiness, which again, being that Godzilla -1 was so serious, a lot of people like to immediately shit on this or be like, oh, it's not, like how, but it's like, my thing is like, it's like, you're acting like Godzilla has always been this serious, like, thing. Like, up until really Shin Godzilla, you could argue all Godzilla movies were like B movies, really, right? Like I like the Heisei era, but they're not like some A-list like movies. Millennium as well, in the Showa era, which seems that the Monsterverse is really taking its inspiration from. Obviously the Showa era was more kid friendly, more goofy. Now, these movies aren't to that level, like Godzilla isn't doing drop kicks or dancing. But there's a lot more, like, of course, Ghidorah was a alien, which, I mean, it's accurate to the lore. It's a lot of sci-fi, right? Especially in Versus Kong. How they had the heaves and all this, like, future tech that we don't have. And of course, in this movie, Kong is gonna get what's called the Beast, like it's an acronym. Glove, like his own Infinity Gauntlet. Um, so it's yeah, like I don't know. People are like complaining about that, but it's like you act like 90% of Godzilla is literally him versus a monster. Like that's the draw. It's the monsters, right? Again, up until I'd argue Shin Godzilla and Godzilla Minus One, which are great movies. Like those two, I would genuinely be like, no, these are like great. Like Minus One is my movie of the year. It was that good. And Shin as well. Fantastic movies that obviously are deeper, have more to say than just like, oh, big monster go brrr, right? Like they have something to say, but I don't like the whole pretentiousness of like, oh, like, I love these, but this is all like trash. It's like, no, well, then by that logic, everything else is trash. It's like, you can enjoy both. You can have both. Like, for me, it's like, as a Godzilla fan, period, we're eating right now, right? Like, this is like, next year's his 70th anniversary. We literally had Minus One, again, one of the arguably best Godzilla movies ever, and genuinely a great film. Like, without Godzilla, just a good movie. We have the big sequel, right? Godzilla X Kong next year, right? Which hopefully does really well financially. Which I love that the Monsterverse funny is like doing great, whereas like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in shambles, and then DC is gonna reboot. So it's like of all these shared universes, the fact that the Monsterverse survived and hopefully was thriving, I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, we have that. Of course, there's been a lot of video game DLCs. My hope, Toho, please, if you're watching, make a new game. And I'm talking a game like the Pipeworks trilogy. If you played them on the GameCube, PS2, or original Xbox, like Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, Save the Earth, or even on the Wii, Unleashed. There was a rumor that Atari was looking to get the rights, from Toho to remaster the three games, like as a pack, right? Like a trilogy remaster for modern consoles. I'm like, please, Toho, do that. Give us a new game. Yes, Godzilla was in Gigabash, right? Like, which again is a game similar to those. But it's like, just give us a proper new game. Like, not these like weird mobile games or like these budget titles like the Godzilla Voxel Wars, like some RTS or kind of RPG-ish game. It's like, look, we want monsters. Either give us a fighting game like these, like kind of like an open brawl, or give us like a big open world game where you could play as the Kaiju and get to destroy cities or defend the Earth, like something like that. Kind of like Godzilla the PS4 game, the really expensive one, the rare one. Something like that, but more fleshed out, because that game admittedly was very bare bones. I don't know. It's like, sorry, to get back on the topic, it's like, as a Godzilla fan, we should just be happy that the big man is getting all this world recognition. Like, Minus One has been, it's the number one, I believe it's like the Godzilla movie that's made the most money. Yeah, it officially made more than Shin, and it's made more in the US than even in Japan. Like, it's super a financial hit for them. Of course, it's sweeping up awards, and maybe at the Oscars it gets Best Picture. It's genuinely that good. Check it out. And I'm excited for GXK, Like, I'm hopeful that they continue on with the Monsterverse. Maybe we get more solo movies. Like, they could really expand it. Like, maybe Mothra. Oh, wow. I didn't even mention her. She's supposedly going to return in this movie as well. She's going to help out to fight, I believe, Shimu and Scar King. Or also the Kongs, the tribe of Kongs. She's going to help out to fight them. Which, hey, I love Mothra. I love to see her return. But, yeah, like, they could do more solo movies. Like we could get a Mothra solo movie potentially. You would have to build up other monsters, sure, for sure. But and they could always lead up to more Toho stuff. I mean, aliens exist in this universe, so that opens the door for like Gigan. I mean, Space Godzilla, which is like another. I'd love him to return. He's always like an awesome design. Destroyer, I mean the Oxygen Destroyer, right? In King of the Monsters they used on Godzilla and Ghidorah. It makes sense. Like it's like, hey, where are you setting up Destroyer? Hey, even give Bagan his eventual movie, like finally give him a movie appearance. People, I always made the argument because it was always like Destroyer could be like the Thanos, the big bad, like the final boss of the Monsterverse. But I'm like, no, you could do that with you do it with Bagan, or if you really go plan that far ahead, Warner Bros. And Legendary. I guess if Toho plays ball as well, you have Destroy as Thanos like phase 1, and then phase 2 of the Monsterverse, it's like Bagan, kind of like what Kang the Conqueror was supposed to be before all the the legal stuff. I mean, it's a shame for them, but yeah. Essentially, it's an exciting time to be a Godzilla fan, and enjoy what you like. If you're not looking forward to XK, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion, but don't bash on it. Don't just because others enjoy it. It's like, I mean, hey, -1 was great. For sure, Toho's gonna come out with another movie, whether it's a sequel to -1 or they do sequel to Shin, or just something entirely standalone again. They've been knocking it out of the park, so I'm very excited for what that movie eventually will be. But in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy GXK. Can't wait for figure releases too. That I've been, pick some of those up. Some are cool. Hopefully Bandai does a line of them too. So definitely pick some of those up when they eventually release. But with that, guys, just Godzilla news. Love the Big G. Super excited for the upcoming year. Got a cool. Should have a good unboxing, Godzilla related, coming soon. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Don't have a date, but I got some stuff I've been picking up, and yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, if you like this type of content, I make new videos usually twice a week. That's definitely something for the new year that I plan to get back on track. And if you like it, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good jazz. And just a happy new year from me at Oxy's Odyssey. I wish you all the best and hope for all of us to have a fantastic new year. But with that, everyone, I've been your host, Oxy. Take care. I'll see you next year.